Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Katie Career Talks. And today we have Missouri Brooks, and she's a mompreneur and a King Drew alumna. So, welcome. Thank you for being here. And we have our ambassadors that are going to be asking you a few questions.
Thank you. Hi. My baby's trying to get in.
Hello. Hi there.
Hi. She's 5. Hi, Miss Cooper. I had Miss Cooper when I was my name, my biological name is Tangela. So she may know me as Tangela. But a few years ago, I started transitioning and changing my name to Zuri.
I knew
Yeah.
as soon as I saw you.
Yeah, Zuri means beautiful. So
No, Zuri like zero.
yeah. Sorry about that. I'm ready.
All right. Hello, Missouri. So, just I would like you to have introduce yourself and kind of explain your career to start off.
Um, well, I like to consider myself a mompreneur. And it's a mixture of, because I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, and so I uh, dive into different avenues, and it all comes together. So I have a wellness business. I am starting private school for youth, for 0 to 10-year-olds that will open next year. I've written 2 books in the last 2 months. And then in my professional or academic background, I'll have my master's in 2 weeks in clinical psychology. So just to kind of, it's a lot that I do. So to summarize it, that's why I just call it, just be simple, a mompreneur, because whenever I have a vision to accomplish anything, I don't want to remain limited in a box. So that's pretty much um, what a mompreneur is for me. Everything.
Okay, so I'm also
Mhm,
going to be interviewing you. And
mhm,
a question I have is, how did since you have been to King Drew,
mhm.
and how did it shape what your career is, or did it shape what your career is now?
It actually did. I love King Drew. In the 11th grade, we had the hospital program. I'm pretty sure you guys still have that program. And it shaped me wanting to continue pursuing the career for clinical psychology. And so in the 11th grade, I had volunteered at the Augustus Hawkins facility. And so that, inspired me to keep going. And as I mentioned, I'll have my master's in 2 weeks in clinical psychology, and then I'm going right into my doctorate for clinical psychology.
Great. So,
Mhm.
according to high school again. So, while you were in King Drew, did you know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or did you just have that vision of going to clinical psychology?
No, I just had the vision of psychology at the time. It was a mixture of, I love arts and the mind. So I just knew that, and whatever came. So I didn't know. I didn't know. I just knew solely about the psychology, but I didn't know about the entrepreneurship until a few years ago. And then after becoming a mom, you realize the flexibility that is needed, not only to follow your dreams, but also to nurture the child as well, so that they can grow up and remain cultivated in their own dreams.
It's really amazing how you're doing like so many different things. So, what hardships did you go through, or like are you still going through some hardships regarding your careers?
Um, the biggest hardship that comes, I believe, is in the mind and the environment. But once you really sit down and take the time to map out who your support system is, who is really in your corner, not who you think is in your corner, but who is really in your corner, how hard you have worked, and the goals that you have actually achieved, then it becomes easier to help navigate through whatever obstacles. So it's just really about shifting the mind.
So, did COVID-19 end up hitting your entrepreneurship or your goals like hard? So, how did you battle COVID-19?
As interesting as COVID has been, I actually enjoyed COVID because in my 9 to 5 job, I still have a 9 to 5 job. I work in a mental health clinic, but I'm able to work from home and then still spend time with my child and then still work on my gifts and then still get paid. So it works out for me. As I mentioned, I was able to write 2 books in the last 2 months. I was able to spend more time. Now I'm able to, work on creating a school. So I enjoy it from that avenue because I can still go and not have to worry about my salary, but still follow through my dreams.
What motivates you to continue your entrepreneurship and getting your master's and then going on to get your doctorate?
Remembering the legacy that I am looking to continuously build on, my child, and constantly shifting away from my past. That's what motivates me.
Okay, so do you have anything you can share with us, either good or bad, that about your career or like your journey?
Um, the biggest inspiration that I would like to leave behind is it always goes back to everything is the mind. You have to learn how to navigate, remain mentally strong and emotionally and develop emotional intelligence in order to really push forward and stay focused on your dreams and your goals. Because there will always be a challenge that may come up. But a challenge, even though it may not feel good many times, it's always an indicator that there is a lesson and a message for us to learn as individuals. So take the message, move forward, and keep going. So that's it.
How do you juggle everything you're doing, and how do you also give time to yourself to like unwind and relax so you're not like overwhelmed by everything?
I have to write it down. I have a calendar, so that helps. Um, since I like to actually write things down, so I have a calendar. I was looking for it. It's over there. But I write everything down, and in order to just stay focused on my self-care, I have to develop boundaries. Boundaries are a big thing that have come to light, that is needed. It's okay to say no sometimes. It's okay to be honest with how you feel, and it's okay to speak up and communicate and mention when you do need a break, you know. So that's how I get my self-care in, my boundaries.
So you
Knowing
do
when
so much.
knowing when it's enough is enough.
You do so much, and you seem so organized. You have a lot going on. Do you think King Drew prepared you for that?
I think King Drew set up a great foundation, but yes, I do. I love King Drew. I love King Drew. King Drew is an amazing program, amazing school, amazing staff, amazing and brilliant students. Um, you know, King Drew really set a strong foundation, but of course, I'm like, I have so many different ideas and arts and things like that. So As far as the arts, at the time when I was at King Drew, the focus was not solely on the arts. So I developed that more so just um, my mom is very much into the arts, so I kind of just naturally picked up on that. But as far as the mind and the academics, like I'm very serious about that. King Drew really was like, no, you have to do it like this. You have to set a level of professionalism, a level of standards for yourself. So King Drew really did an awesome job. I love King Drew. I love King Drew. King Drew's
Do you
amazing.
have any advice for the King Drew students if they wanted to like do entrepreneurship or just learn how to be able to have their hands in many pots?
For any individuals that are seeking to, yes, hold on, that are seeking to dive right into entrepreneurship, I would say start researching information, start taking business classes, start reading more. Don't be afraid to pick up a book and just start building your craft all the time. But research is one of the biggest things because sometimes when you go into entrepreneurship, people can, there'll be so many legal avenues where people will try to steal your artwork or, steal your work, may or different legal ramifications. So it's just good to just research, know what you're getting into, and then move forward from there.
So, what mistakes did you make in your entrepreneurship, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
One of the mistakes that I made was listening to people's opinions too much in the beginning, but I just learned how to develop boundaries and just realize and have confidence in my own dreams and goals. Like if I was given a particular vision and purpose, then why am I asking someone else's thoughts on what I see, what I have been guiding and molded to see? Because everyone will not see the vision like you. Even if they have great intention, everyone will see the vision from their perspective. So to avoid all that, try to limit, it's always good for a few opinions, but try to limit the amount of people that knows every detail about what you're pursuing, because you can get clouded and then you can become stagnant and then you'll be back at square one.
You've mentioned boundaries a couple times. Do you have any, no, what kind of boundaries do you set for yourself?
I have to just say no. I turn my phone off when needed. Um, I have to start practicing no more, or I'll just speak up more because many times, if you hold things in or you don't properly communicate the way someone else understands, then your message won't get heard and then your boundaries, it will just all go out of the window. So you just have to be clear in how you communicate. That's what worked for me.
So, could you tell us if you're comfortable with it, a general salary for someone in your like position or your career?
Well, for the mompreneur, I pretty much can make whatever I desire. It all depends on how focused I am. But with a clinical psychology position, um, it's around like around 120K annually. So that's for the from the professional standpoint. But from the entrepreneur side, there's no limit. There is never a limit.
Can you share some good and bad moments on your path?
As far as the career,
Yes, your career.
um, good moments is reaching the finish line. Bad moments are just, when you're just when I have been in my head about I'm not doing good enough. But because I do write everything down, I write down like what my goals are and what I have already accomplished, and then I reflect on those goals. So then my what may seem bad ends up turning out good because I realize I shouldn't be so hard on myself because I've really come further than what I may have thought in my head. And also it's okay to be different, especially like if you have family, and sometimes some individuals may feel like the oddball out or just may feel different and disconnected. And so when you try to share your ideas with certain individuals, you may not receive the type of feedback that you feel like you would like to hear. And sometimes it's not, even though it may not feel good, it's always a great moment to realize that you're just simply different from this individual. And so, it's important to detach the emotion from whatever situation and just embrace being different and just embrace that other people are different as well. And that's why they share different opinions. But just because you disagree doesn't mean that you now have to not interact with those individuals, or they may not still be in your corner.
Yeah, so I know you said you love King Drew.
Mhm.
Could you continue on that, on why you loved your experience in high school?
I did. In the beginning, I was kind of quiet in the beginning. I think I was quiet my whole entire 4 years, or just kept to myself. Um, but it allowed me to sit back and observe. So that's what allowed me to really enjoy it more because I'm able to see different perspectives and just assess and go into things that way. Mhm.
Okay. Do you have anything that you want the kids to take away from your presentation?
Um, just always remember your goals. Don't be afraid to continue to um, move forward. And anything that may sound outlandish or crazy to others, keep going because it's your vision, it's your purpose, it's your life. And, you know, it's about what you make out of your life and your goals. So just stay steadfast to your dreams and your goals and your surroundings. Your surroundings have a lot to do with, you know, how much, like, because you can have dreams or goals, but your surroundings will also be a determining factor in how well you can execute that. So you always want to be around people that edify you. So now you have the dream, but now you need the support of those who edify you the way you need to be cultivated. And then once you have that, then you have a clear vision to continue on and move forward. So that is what I would like to leave with you all. Just continue to, know who you are and remain grounded in that and confident in that.
So, is there anything you would like to change about either your high school experience or your journey to where you are today?
I probably wish I would have, spoken up a little more. As I mentioned, I was very quiet and reserved and it allowed me to observe a lot, but I wish I would have um, not necessarily had more friends, just kind of expanded on my social circle a little more because then it would have inspired me, or it would have provided me with the foundation to network more because networking is necessary. So I just wish that I would have done that a little more so I could have set myself up. So I wouldn't have had to learn it later on. Mhm.
Okay, so what when you're on your when you're doing the things you do and sometimes you get stuck somewhere. What do you do to make yourself continue going, like continue getting your master's and doctorate, continue doing your entrepreneurship and everything?
I do yoga. I love yoga. So I'll just take a moment to do some yoga, and then everything is more calm and relaxed. And, and when you do yoga, I can set aside 5 minutes, 15, 30 minutes. And also I can also do yoga. Like if I'm cooking, I can do a quick stretch. And, so I'm multitasking, but it allows me to still get in the self-care that I need, but still make some food so I can eat. Because I like to eat.
So, when in your journey did you realize that yoga helps you, like in your path?
About 3 years ago. Yeah, about 3 years ago, I started focusing more on remaining in tune with my body, and how when you stretch, well, how when if you stress, it it gets stored in certain parts of your body. So once I started stretching and releasing, I felt better because like there was nothing there holding it in because I've already released it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what besides, do you have anything besides yoga that you also do?
I eat and I love dancing and I do crafts. Oh, that's beautiful. I do crafts and like I can make the crowns. Um, I wish I would have had it. Give me a second. I want to show you guys a picture. I spend time with my child. She had actually drew this. She's a 5-year-old. So I spend time with her and I dive into her gifts. I always have to brag about her. So yeah, I think that's pretty great for a 5-year-old. I'm not crafty like that, but um, that's what I that's what keeps me grounded, focusing on her and tapping into her gifts and allowing, creating the space to do the same for mine. Mhm.
How do you balance both careers, having like both creative and something more scientifical?
I balance because anything can find connection. When you focus on clinical and healing the mind, and you want to incorporate arts and creativity in it, many of us are creative individuals. We just may not have tapped into that part of our brain. And so when you think about healing and releasing old patterns and uh, detaching from trauma or pain or baggage, one way to actually get through, a good remedy to get through these things is art, is dance, is yoga, is creating, and just having the space to remain in your natural element. So that's how it can be combined. They have there's what's called sand therapy and art therapy, where you're drawing, you're listening to certain music, and then you're drawing how it makes you feel, or you're painting it out, or as you're having, excuse me, as you're having a I had one counseling session where this individual, she experienced a lot of trauma in her life. And so we had an art therapy session, and as she's explaining whatever trauma based experience that she had, she's painting out her thoughts and emotions. So she's paying attention to the colors, she's paying attention to the shapes that she's drawing. And so it's allowing her to heal a part of her mind that was once traumatized, but it's also incorporating the arts at the same time.
Okay, so sorry. Would you
Is
like to
everyone
answer
doing
some questions from the students, if they have any?
Actually, I'd like to ask something. So you were one of the few students who was actually able to go to Hawkins. By the way, the students you're talking to, this is the hospital program. And unfortunately, they've spent their year at their homes. So other than meeting people like you and connecting that way, they have not been able to go to sites. So that was a very difficult site for us to keep students. And they, the last several years, they actually stopped us from allowing students to go there. Could you tell them what it was like there or any of the experiences that you remember?
It was actually rewarding and great because I don't remember ever seeing an irate individual, but they did keep us closed off and into a space where we would, hear on some of the case studies. But we didn't actually like at the time I was in the program, I never actually worked with a mentally ill client since the population is dealing with schizophrenia, bipolar. We never actually dealt with that because I just felt maybe that would be a liability, like if they actually caused harm or something. Um, but I learned a lot. It was pretty good.
Is there anything you would like to share about what you learned at your time at your site?
Um, what I learned is that you have to be an attentive listener. You have to be open and you have to have passion. It requires a lot of passion, a lot of passion because especially when you're dealing with a population like schizophrenia and bipolar, on an average day, it can draw you to say, okay, I don't want to deal with this, because it's sometimes it can be overwhelming and it can become a lot. But that's why I say it's taught me to you have to have very strong passion, remain an attentive listener, and then I didn't say this, but also remain a support and provide hope to them.
Okay. Um, while you're on your clinical psychologist degree, do you think that how do you how can I say this? How do you deal with talking or helping other patients while also not trying to like get too invested in it where it's affecting you?
At this point in my journey, I feel like yoga has helped a lot, release a lot of whatever self-limiting thoughts and behaviors that don't serve me. So whenever I come across clients, I'm sorry, whenever I come across clients who may feel the same, I just try to encourage them to. I lost track of thought. What's the question again? I'm sorry, because my daughter was talking to me.
Oh, saying how you like still maintain like your mental health while also trying to help someone else's mental health while not like getting too invested where it's affecting you too much.
Okay, yeah. Um, you stay grounded by um it's the yoga. It's the yoga. I have to. That's the biggest thing. It's the yoga. It's the stretching. And then that allows me to detach any emotion that I may have or may have developed. Um, and then I'm able to maintain a healthy dynamic client and clinician relationship. Mhm.
Great. So at this time, Diamond and I would like to open up the chat for any students or any other questions that the students or even teachers might have for you.
So often our students really feel like they have to take a straight line out of high school directly to the end, what their goal career is. Um, I'm not sure that you did that. Like, well, why did you always think of a doctorate degree, or did that kind of evolve later? Or had you always planned to get a master's and then a doctorate? Could you just kind of talk about how you find your path as you go?
Um, I did not always feel like I would go into my doctorate. That kind of just came up as I just went along the path. But right after high school, I went right into a 4-year program. And so if academia is your route, I would suggest just going straight into it, so it can be done and over with. I kind of wish that, because I'm in my 30s now, so I wish I kind of would have been done with everything by 26, 27, and I probably would have had a different life. Well, not a different life, but a different type of foundation. I'm building it a little differently in my 30s than it would have been. But pretty much things come with experience and things shift all of the time. So even when you have an idea and a goal in your head, something comes and it may detour and that may become your passion. And, that was my path, but kind of just listen to your intuition. One thing that I do to help follow my intuition, and I explain this to my daughter as well, is start off with a simple exercise as something as if you're in the grocery store and you're shopping, close your eyes when you're picking out fruit. So an orange, for example, and you close your eyes and you feel which one you're drawn to. And you never know why you're drawn to a particular path, particular object, but just always follow that. And that's one of the best things that I can inspire, inspire you all to do. Just kind of just take a breath to follow your intuition, because we all have it, both men and women. So just continue to follow that, and then that will help. That foundation will help you with whatever goals that you have for yourself. Did I answer it? Any other questions?
So how would you say your intuition has helped you pick out your careers?
Sometimes I get dreams. When you're like in tune, the more in tune, the more in tune I become with myself, I just have clear, straight dreams. I meditate. As I mentioned, I write things down. And so when I write things down, then I can clearly see, you know, what works, what doesn't work. And then I'm able to kind of just move forward from there. Yeah. Did I answer the
Okay.
question? Mhm.
How important is it following your tuition? Like, why would you think it's really important to do so?
It's very important. It could save your life. You just never know, as I mentioned, you never know why you're drawn to something in particular. Like, it could save your life. It can help cause less stress and headache for yourself in the decisions that you do make. It doesn't mean that, you know, everything is going to be perfect, or when you follow your intuition, it's just going to be like a smooth path. But when you follow your intuition, things will naturally just start aligning. It just works, and everything seems less stressful. And even when challenges come up, you're like, okay, that doesn't feel right, so I'm going to go to what does make me feel right, and then everything still just flows. So intuition is very important, and it's a gift that is undermined by many individuals and that is not really used. And that can be utilized not only for your career, for your relationships with your peers, for your relationships with family, all types of professional relationships. It can help save your life. Mhm.
So can you give an example on how your intuition has helped you, like a specific memory or something more specific that you have?
Uh, my career choice. I had a dream about how I should actually, because before I started the clinical psych, I actually started doing support groups at my home, and I did it for women who've experienced sexual assault and domestic violence in their life. And I had no idea. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. But one night I had a dream, and it was like, wake up and write down. I had a list of words and I just wrote them all down. I didn't even understand. I was confused. I was like, okay, I'm just going to write it down. So I wrote it down. And then I had another vision to, contact a certain amount of people, set up a workshop this way, and actually, with the display down to the display, like everything was literally in a dream. And I think because I woke up instantly and I start writing, that's how I remembered it, or I probably wouldn't have remembered. But as soon as I actually started the workshop, set it up, everything flowed, like everything flowed. And then I had a moment where in the beginning, I had actually stopped. I had like a moment where I wasn't around the greatest environment, or, I wasn't around the greatest environment. And so it left me feeling stagnant. And I just tried to start it up again. And because I wasn't listening to my intuition and how it needed to be done, it didn't work. It didn't work. And then I was just feeling like, why is it not working? I did it before. And it's because intuition is very, very, very important. It's very important. It will guide you, it will make things easier. It will have you living longer. It will have less bags under your eyes, less stress. You know, intuition is very important. I cannot remember.
Okay, so we have a question in the chat saying, did you have any programs that helped you become more knowledgeable about the pathway of being an entrepreneur, or how did you begin?
There were no particular programs. I just began taking business classes. But it all kind of just started with the intuition. The night I had the dream, I remember it was May 15, 2014. And I had a dream. And I woke up, and after that, things just started flowing. And then once you get into the rhythm and the groove of what it means for you to be in alignment, then everything tends to work out. And then that opens up the floodgates to actually start researching more, start, involving yourselves in different community projects, start, it just opens up everything, taking business classes. Now I want to learn how to do this, and then I'm pretty sure many of you have Facebook. So when you think of something, all of a sudden it pops up on Facebook. Okay. So now that Facebook is here and it hears your thoughts, now that helps you. Now they have free programs that pop up. So you're like, hey, I wanted to learn this. What else can enhance my skills? So it just kind of just comes with the territory. Once you are bold enough to tap into your alignment, then everything else flows.
All right, so we have another question in the chat. What is the name of your program for wellness?
It's called Misty Wellness. So where I have we have right now we're doing monthly workshops on healing the different chakras, which is awareness, the sacral chakra, root chakra. I said it a little out of order, but there are 7 chakras. So we're working on that in order to, sorry, I moved the screen. Okay, there it is. Sorry. So we're working on that with the program. One of the workshops, I actually sometimes we do self-care workshops and to pull out to your to pull out your creativity. So sometimes we incorporate or I incorporate foot soaks, milk foot soaks, where I take warm water. Well, I'll put hot water. I like hot water. But you can put put hot water and then I use oat milk. So you put cold oat milk and it kind of balances out to warm. And then you put rose petals in there. So you could put sunflowers, whatever type of favorite flower you have, lavender, and then you just soak it, Epsom salt, and you soak your foot for about maybe 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And then after that, you'll be left feeling refreshed and more creative. So that's something that we do with the program as well.
Okay, another question is, do you enjoy clinical psychology? And also, what is your favorite part of the occupation or schooling?
I do enjoy clinical psychology. I do enjoy clinical psychology, and my favorite part of the program is when I actually get to connect with the other students and we get to do what's called a fishbowl, where we hash out whatever biases that may have occurred over time. And we're able to just sit down and have case study scenarios and just kind of develop different perspectives on it. That's the best part, the interaction.
All right, so another question, how has your family affected your career, either positively or negative?
Um, at first it was negative because they were very close-minded and they didn't understand. But the more I just began to communicate, then the more respect was received, and then the relationships have actually thrived. Based on me just working on communicating effectively my needs and desires.
Okay. What are some challenges you had to face as an entrepreneur?
Sometimes, when you see entrepreneurs, you see these videos, I made 100K in 20 days. And then you try it, and it's not always like that, and of course it's not going to be like that in the beginning. So that was one of the biggest challenges, like not looking at other people's journey and trying to mold it into mine, but ultimately realizing that you have your own path, and although you may share the same lane with other individuals, it will look differently. So don't be so hard on yourself when it does, because you can still achieve whatever goal, no matter what it looks like. Mhm.
Is there
Any other
anything you
questions?
did to grow your brand or grow your wellness program, like something specific, or did it just end up growing like by itself?
Say that again.
Is there anything specific you did to grow your brand or to grow your wellness program?
Dedication. You just have to have consistency and dedication and investments. So you have to invest into your brand, you have to be dedicated, and you have to be consistent. Because the moment you're not consistent, then, people who, you know, may have shared a post or like it, they may feel like you're not as enthusiastic about your own brand. So then it falls off. So. Mhm. Any other questions? I am in. Someone asked, kind of going back, for the individual who asked the question, about the name of the program for the wellness, you can contact me after if you want. I can put my email in the chat. I'll put my email in the chat right now. So you're welcome to email me for any questions, or if you need me to send you over information, I can do that as well. Any other
Okay,
questions?
thank you. Thank you for dropping a lot of knowledge on us and everything. It was really nice interviewing you. I really
Thank
liked
you.
it.
I hope it wasn't overwhelming, because I know it's like you hear a lot, but a lot of it is, the repetition of consistency, dedication, being mindful of your surroundings, loving on yourself and not being afraid of self-care, and not being afraid to speak up and communicate, because that's ultimately one of the biggest ways you'll get things done, by opening up your mouth. Sometimes learning when to be quiet, but mostly opening your mouth so you know how to properly articulate what it is you're looking for, and your goal can be executed in the way it needs to. Mhm. You're welcome. I know I heard my baby sometimes, but I hope she was okay. I think she was.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and sharing about your life. Is there any
Mhm.
last words you would like to leave the students with?
Oh, she wants to I mean, no, I just will keep reiterating whatever I've stated. What is this? She just, I guess the baby wants to leave you guys with something. She wants to show you guys a photo she made of her hand. Yeah, that's my daughter. She's funny. But that's it. That's it. If there's anything else, once again, my email is in the chat for any questions, for any information, resources. Because you never know who you're actually speaking with. You never know who's connected to who. So always feel free to email me at any given time. Mhm. You're welcome. I hope it helped. I hope it really helped serve as an inspiration to you all.
No, Zuri, thank you so much for sharing your wise words with our students.
Mhm.
I mean, that's why these career talks are so important, because they hear certain things from their teachers, and sometimes they just need to hear it from um, just other people with different experiences and backgrounds. I mean, there's students here that are probably resonating with your words more by you saying them, that for example me saying them to them. And I think that's really important in sharing the space and with them. And I do hope that they take a lot out of this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope so too. Well, I feel like they will. A lot of individuals will take something away. Intuition, you guys. Intuition. Mhm.